Can you talk to me about your main message in your campaign that you've shared with voters?
Yes, I can talk to you about my main message. So, my campaign slogan is facts, safety, and service. And that is based on the fact that there are a lot of things going on in Blythewood, which I'm sure you've probably seen, reported on, and maybe have seen or read about on social media that are perception based, that are rumor based, that characterize our town as really not being able to accomplish much of anything, to be quite honest with you. And I am ready to dismiss that and introduce facts. I work based on facts only. I mean, I'm sure there are times that I have maybe said something that is not factual, but in a political election, I think it's very important that when we say things, that we base that on the truth. And so that's my first component of my campaign message. My second one is safety. So safety, when you think about Blythewood and all the changes with the introduction of Scout motors, you might think about the traffic hazards that occur. And that is one of my main focuses also. So I have a couple of FOIA requests out to find out if we really do have the infrastructure in terms of EMS, first responder support to help those who might unfortunately get in an accident, specifically on Blythewood Road. I know that Scout Motors has yet to establish their own fire department. So one of my goals when I talk about safety is to establish a mutual aid agreement with them, or at least have an ongoing partnership with them. And then finally, my other campaign slogan is service. So I do believe in servant leadership, and I believe that servant leadership is what is missing primarily in our local government, the way that it is currently being run, in that we really, a political office, you serve the community, you don't serve yourself. And I have seen a lot of that. So those are my main priorities: facts, safety, and service.
And going straight on to the one of the topics I wanted to highlight, safety. Can you talk about just what your focus is when it comes to that safety element in Blythewood that you would tackle if you were elected?
Sure. So safety first begins. So you have to have a good relationship with the South Carolina Department of Transportation, who really makes most of the decisions in terms of how we travel on our roads. And the second one would be our Planning Commission. Our Planning Commission really is the entryway or the gateway into what type of development that occurs here and what type of infrastructure that we ask for developers to put in place before they consider building, just for example, a new light industrial building or a new condo development, things like that. So it begins really with our Planning Commission making the correct decision that goes with our 2020, 2030 comprehensive plan, which says, as it is now, all the other development in our town really should remain what we call town center. Town center is, when you think of town center, you think of vibrancy, you think of restaurants, you think of something that allures people to the town of Blythewood. So I think that the Planning Commission, the onus is upon them not to do something like, just say, for example, I won't name the name of the company, but they're a storage and rental truck facility, which we already have a storage facility on that same road, has asked to be considered light industrial, changing the zoning, which really would permit a lot of traffic, which if you look at safety records, you'll see that freight, well, not necessarily a freight truck, but those types of trucks are rented by people who are inexperienced drivers, and the accident rate is a lot higher. So I would decline or not approve something like that at the Planning Commission level. And about safety also, I've also FOIA'd we are a town that does not have a millage, so we are reliant upon the Sheriff's Department, who does an excellent job, and the Columbia Fire Department and others to help us in a time of need. So I have requested some data that will show what are the response times, and I do know that EMT, specifically a paramedic, are extremely they're understaffed and they are underpaid, and that we can maybe try to have a bigger connection with Midlands Tech, who teaches that type of education for students. And I think that if we can bring that and have more of a conversation about how long does it take to get to us when we get into an accident, those are the safety priorities that I have put forward in my campaign.
And you talked a little bit about this through your safety answer. Moving on to development, how will you tackle development and kind of focus on that if again you are elected in the seat.
Right, that's a great question. So development, I'm not anti-development, but I think we've almost exceeded our capacity for development. I do understand that with the initiation and Scout Motors, which will be operational quicker than I think it will become operational, there will be an influx of population of people that move here. So I do believe in affordable housing, and I believe that there are places that have to house people. Now, I don't believe in development that is put up quickly, that is put up and not within the standards that we say they should be put up. So within the town of Blythewood, we have already determined what can be developed on and what must retain itself as a town center property. So I think if we adhere to I'm going back again to our comprehensive plan, because we've done a tremendous amount of work with the town council at that time and the citizens through citizen input and a community partnership to determine just how much development we want. So we have zoning in place to prevent an excessive amount of development. And as long as we adhere to that and don't succumb to developers that come and present to us an idea that maybe they would like to change the zoning, if we stick with our original plan, I think we'll be just fine and can retain the quality of life that we would like to see, or the community would like to see in Blythewood.
And coming up on my last question, what is your last message to voters as they head to the polls in this upcoming election?
Sure. So I'm an educator. I've worked in higher education. I've had a lot of different jobs, but my most current job, I am currently employed in higher education at a technical college in South Carolina. So I do believe in higher education, even though I can tell you I've got family members who have a high school diploma who are probably making 3 times the amount of money that I am because they're savvy and they're very hardworking. But nonetheless, I do believe in higher education and I believe in professionalism. And I believe that is one thing that our current well, actually, we have just had a referendum that changed our current structure from Mayor Strong to council manager, which will introduce more professionalism and will reduce the amount of, well, I think you can liken it to the days of patronage when you hired people based on who you know and you did favors for people in return because you had power. And I think that power needs to be tempered in Blythewood. So that's what I would respond to your question.